policymakers have called on us to do something different than we've traditionally done. And each and every day, you all serve as shining examples.
Main City, come to order. Department 8 is now in session.
It's graduation day in Judge Larry Brown's mental health court.
Ah, Caesar. How are you, my friend?
I'm doing good, Judge.
I love the smile. Folks, Caesar's been with our court since February of last year.
I was homeless. Nothing would stop me from getting high.
And charged with an assault felony case.
The day I got arrested, I had smoked a batch of some crystal meth, but I didn't know it was laced with fentanyl. It made me go crazy. I started attacking people.
And Caesar, are you proud of yourself today?
I realized that I messed up and I could have hurt somebody.
He attended all his treatment appointments.
It makes me feel ashamed of myself.
Sacramento County has been running this mental health treatment court for over a decade.
I got a second chance in life.
For people like Caesar, after they're convicted and have served time.
Promise you're going to keep doing everything you've been doing?
Yes, sir, I promise.
Now that he's completed the program, his convictions erased.
Case dismissed. Congratulations.
In 2019, lawmakers expanded the system to include a new pretrial mental health diversion track, where defendants who could prove a diagnosed mental disorder caused them to commit a crime could have their charges dropped before they're ever convicted if they complete a 12 to 18-month program with regular drug tests, treatment, and court appearances. And while Caesar is the type of person mental health court is intended to help,
the bar for entering mental health diversion is actually quite low.
They're not all success stories.
Folks that shouldn't be in there because they do pose a threat to public safety are getting admitted.
Assistant Chief Deputy DA Rochelle Beardsley points to Fernando Jimenez. Court records reveal he was charged with violently attacking his neighbor, breaking the woman's orbital socket. But because she survived, instead of going to jail, he got diversion.
He was in mental health diversion when he committed a murder.
Jimenez is now facing murder charges in a neighboring county.
It's not what it used to be, man.
She says Jimenez got diversion instead of jail thanks to a newly revised law that makes more people eligible. Defendants no longer have to prove their mental illness was a significant factor in the crime. In fact, they can blame nearly any crime on any one of these hundreds of listed mental disorders, including ADHD, erectile disorder,
bulimia, anorexia, substance use disorder.
And while people charged with sex crimes and murder aren't eligible, if their victim survives,
attempted murder, domestic violence, those are eligible for mental health diversions.
Get this.
Remember this story?
A Tesla flies off Highway 1 over a cliff.
The CHP now says the man drove his family off that cliff on purpose.
So they did arrest him for attempted murder and child abuse.
This was nothing short of a miracle today that they survived.
Because this Pasadena doctor says he suffers from depression and his wife and 2 young kids survived the plunge, he got mental health diversion instead of prosecution for attempted murder and child abuse.
There are limited ways for a DA's office to oppose it.
So how successful is mental health court? Well, that depends on who you ask. We compiled success rate data from counties across the state, comparing it to the public data on the state's dashboard. And we found it was inaccurate, incomplete, or non-existent. In fact, no one seems to be tracking who's most successful or how often people reoffend. But the public data we do have indicates in the first quarter of this year, success rates fell below 50%.
Even if they don't make it all the way through.
After presiding over mental health court for more than a decade,
we've had success for that window of time.
Judge Brown has a different view of success.
It's success the moment we connect them to a mental health provider. It's success when we get them on medication while they're in jail.
He says he sees roughly 200 people a week who he gets to know through regular check-ins.
Like Caesar, we're truly going to miss him. He's a delight, and he's been a gentleman. So that's what's great about this job.
And I thank God that he locked me up because I'm sober now.
Congratulations, Cesar.
Thank you.
Caesar's story is a powerful example.
I didn't know another life until I got arrested.
Of the potential.
And I quit cold turkey.
Of California's mental health court.
I found the Lord. Now I'm sober. Now I see the life of a sober man. Now I see how a real man feels.
But without better statewide data to show what's working and what's not.
Being arrested saved my life.
For now, Caesar's story is an anecdote with great potential.
I mean, when you see tents like this,
it brings me back. It brings me back, but it's not going to stop me from continuing my new life that I have.
Yeah.
because nothing can stop me no more.
A Tesla flies off Highway 1 over a cliff.
The shocking development. Police have arrested the father.
Dr. Dharmesh Patel is now facing charges of attempted murder and child abuse.
The unthinkable captured the country's attention.
Extraordinary footage shows what appears to be the husband sticking his head out from the sheared-off top as rescuers work to free the trapped children.
Prosecutors say Dr. Dharmesh Patel admitted to intentionally trying to kill his family the day he drove them off this cliff.
Remarkably, all 4 people survived the 250-foot drop.
Dr. Patel told therapists he was having paranoid delusions about Jeffrey Epstein, the fentanyl crisis, and he feared his kids could be sex trafficked.
They had to use ropes to pull up 2 children, and then they used helicopters to bring the parents out.
If any one of them had died that day, Dr. Patel would be standing trial for murder.
This was nothing short of a miracle today that they survived.
But because they survived, against all odds, he was charged with attempted murder instead. And that makes him eligible for mental health diversion in California, treatment instead of trial. So instead of facing 7 years to life in prison for 3 counts of attempted murder, Patel will get 2 years of mental health treatment while living at home with his parents in the Bay Area.
The Pasadena doctor accused of trying to kill his wife and kids was released today.
If he completes the 2-year program, his record will be wiped clean. Legally, it will be as if this never happened.
Dr. Patel did everything he could to carry out a murder. It was just they survived the crash of the car.
The San Mateo County DA, Steve Wagstaff, says he supports diversion in many cases, but not for people charged with attempted murder, like Dr. Patel.
I'm more than happy to take that gamble when you're dealing with low-level type of offenses. We don't think for a crime like attempted murder that diversion out of the system, meaning no accountability, no punishment, should exist.
A newly revised law makes more Californians eligible for diversion because defendants no longer have to prove a diagnosed mental illness was a significant factor causing them to commit a crime. They just need to be diagnosed with any one of these hundreds of listed mental disorders, ranging from Patel's diagnosis, major depressive disorder, to ADHD, erectile disorder, anorexia, and substance abuse.
Really, the headline here is that a person's getting the treatment they need to make sure that they can be a safe, thriving member of their community, and that this is aligning with the wishes of the survivors of this crime.
Mona Shahaf is a prosecution reform advocate at the Vera Institute of Justice. She points to Mrs. Patel's emotional testimony, asking for diversion for her husband instead of trial. She described how much her kids miss their father and she her best friend, noting her husband never had an episode like that before and arguing his mental health treatment will not only restore him back to himself, but will restore the health and well-being of their entire family.
A diversion program might be the absolute best antidote to making sure that this person never commits a crime again.
This is Ring camera showing the doctor delivering poinsettias to neighbors on Christmas Eve.
By all accounts, Patel was a loving father and upstanding doctor before his sudden mental illness prompted him to drive his family off a cliff.
They're the sweetest couple, and they have the greatest 2 little kids.
They're literally, I would say, picture perfect.
Doctors say if properly medicated, he could go back to that life.
I would also disagree that you're not being held accountable in a diversion program. You have to go through a very rigorous program, many, many more requirements indeed than involved in being charged and put into jail.
In Patel's case, he must wear an ankle monitor and stay confined to his parents' house, except for weekly visits to court, doctors, and therapists. He'll be tested to ensure he's not using recreational drugs or alcohol and that he is taking his prescribed medication. He's turned over his driver's license and passport, and for now, he can't see his wife or kids, practice medicine, or own a gun. What do you say to the argument that he's exactly the type of person that should get mental health diversion?
Nobody saw it coming. So how are we going to know in the future whether it's coming? How do we know he's going to stay on medication? After 2 years, there's nobody going to be checking it.
He points out mental health diversion programs run a maximum of 2 years.
Mr. Patel can go out day one after the 2 years are over and purchase a gun.
Wagstaff is among many who argue mental health diversion should not be allowed in cases of attempted murder. At the state capitol earlier this year, a bipartisan bill with widespread support would have added attempted murder to the short list of charges, murder and sex crimes, that are not eligible for diversion.
My husband tried to kill me. He stabbed me 6 times with a butcher knife.
The bill unanimously passed the Assembly Public Safety Committee, which is known for killing tough-on-crime legislation, but the rest of the Assembly never got the chance to vote. Why?
Holding committee.
Because the Assembly Appropriations Committee killed the bill by holding it in the so-called suspense file.
And I don't think the public, if they knew it, would find that acceptable.
The suspense file is where even popular bills go to die without a vote. In this case, the committee analysis suggested that the bill would be too expensive, citing the cost to send someone to prison for attempted murder instead of through a diversion program. Except they failed to mention how much it costs to send that same person through a diversion program. A nominal difference. The committee staff declined multiple requests for comment, but a CBS News analysis of state data found last year alone, California spent $67 million on people who failed to complete their diversion programs and had their charges reinstated anyway.
Here we go.
Patel is the first high-profile attempted murder defendant to get diversion since the bill died.
Emergency personnel rappelled down,
risking their own lives for this rescue.
While the medical board could attempt to revoke his license, in 2 years, legally, Patel can return to practicing medicine, driving, even purchase a gun.
For us, he's poster child. We will use him to bring that bill back.
But Dr. Patel is also the so-called poster child for the other side. His defense attorneys declined an interview, but they hope he'll be the model for how mental health diversion is supposed to work, even for those charged with attempted murder.